What if I told you that one belief could completely change the direction of your life? Not because it's magic, not because the universe suddenly starts handing you everything you want, but because that one belief changes the way you think, the way you act, the way you treat yourself, and eventually the life you create. If you've been following my journey for a while, you know I talk a lot about presence, discipline, gratitude, mindset, and becoming the person you were created to become. But today, I want to tell you the story of the belief that changed everything for me. Before we get into it, I just want to ask one favor. If anything I share in these videos has ever helped you, made you think, encouraged you, or inspired you in any way, I would be incredibly grateful if you could like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone you care about. It might seem like a small thing, but it genuinely helps. It helps these conversations reach way more people. It helps me continue creating. It helps me support my family while doing something I truly love. So, thank you. I appreciate every single one of you. Now, let's get into it. A few years ago, I almost lost myself. From the outside, life probably looked okay. I had work, I was making money, I was functioning, but inside, I was drowning. Depression has a way of convincing you that there's no way out. It narrows your vision, steals your hope, and eventually it starts convincing you that this is just who you are. Looking back, I don't think I needed someone to motivate me. I needed to tell myself the truth. For the first time in my life, I stopped blaming, I stopped making excuses, and I took a complete inventory of my life. Not the version I showed everyone else, the real version. I looked at my health, my relationships, my habits, my thoughts, my career, my finances, my purpose. And I asked myself, am I truly proud of this? Some of those answers were painful. One of the biggest was my career. I'd spent my life working away. Long hours, long shifts, living out of a suitcase in hotels, always chasing that next paycheck. And while there's absolutely nothing wrong with honest work, I did realize something. The life I was building was taking me away from the people I loved most, my boys. I didn't want to be a father who only got the leftovers. I wanted to be present, not just physically, but emotionally. That realization hurt because I had spent years believing success looked one way. And now I was being called in a completely different direction. At that point, I made one of the biggest decisions of my life. I stopped trying to force everything. Instead, I surrendered. I gave it to God. That doesn't mean I sat on my couch waiting for miracles. Far from it. It meant that I stopped pretending that I knew exactly how my life was supposed to unfold. Instead, I started asking, what's the next right step? That's all. Not 5 years, not 10 years, just the next step. The next step eventually took me to the beautiful Yukon. It was just me, a machine, nature, and thousands of hours alone with my thoughts. Some people would have been lonely, but for me, it became a classroom. I listened to audiobook after audiobook, podcast after podcast. I studied psychology, human behavior, consciousness, faith, emotional intelligence, leadership, the subconscious mind, anything that helped me understand why we become who we become. At the same time, I started taking care of my body. For the first time in my life, I got a six-pack at 43 years old. Not because I wanted to impress anybody, because every workout, every healthy meal, every difficult decision became evidence. Evidence that I could trust myself. Then I started boxing. And if you've ever boxed, you know. Boxing exposes you. You can't fake discipline. You can't fake courage. You can't fake preparation. You either show up or you don't. Every difficult workout, every promise I kept myself, built something far more valuable than muscle. It built trust. I've had people ask me where I get my confidence from. The truth? I wasn't born confident. Nobody is. I earned it. One promise at a time. One difficult conversation at a time. One prayer at a time. One workout at a time. One honest decision at a time. Confidence isn't something you think yourself into. It's something you build. Around this time, I started praying every single day, sometimes twice. Not perfect prayers, just honest ones. And I started practicing gratitude every morning, every evening, every day, for months. And something changed in me. I didn't just become more grateful. I genuinely fell back in love with life. I started noticing things I had ignored for years. Morning walks, sunrises, good conversations, time with my boys, learning, creating, writing, the simple privilege of being alive. Gratitude didn't magically remove every problem. It changed the way I experienced my life. And when you change the way you experience life, it begins to feel very, very different. Eventually, I incorporated my own business. At first, I thought I knew exactly what I was going to build. A construction company. That's what I'd always done. It made sense. But something interesting happened. The more I learned about the mind, the less interested I became in building underground infrastructure, and the more interested I became in building people. I realized I loved writing. I loved inspiring people on social media. I loved having meaningful conversations. I loved helping people think differently. Then one day, after leaving a high-paying job in Alberta, a job I actually once prayed for, it's in my journals, I was driving home, 16-hour drive. Somewhere during that drive, one thought entered my mind. Start a YouTube channel. That one thought changed everything. That YouTube channel led to podcasting. Podcasting led to a media agency. Coaching became a natural extension of everything I'd lived through. Looking back, none of it makes sense if you try to explain it with a perfect plan, because I never really had one. All I had was direction. Every time I tried to control everything, I sabotaged myself. Every time I surrendered, I took the next honest step. My life expanded. Sometimes I fell. Sometimes I ended up back in the darkness. But even those seasons became teachers. The darkness forced me to face parts of myself, the parts I didn't want to see. Looking back now, I don't regret those moments because they shaped the man sitting here today. So, what's that one belief that changed everything? It wasn't, I can do anything. It wasn't, everything will just work out. It wasn't, I'm special. It was something much simpler. If I tell myself the truth and have the courage to act on it, I can trust myself. That's it. That belief changed everything. Because once I trusted myself, I stopped living someone else's version of success. I started living mine. So let me ask you something. If you were completely honest, what parts of your life already knows the truth? Maybe it's your health. Maybe it's your relationship. Maybe it's your job. Maybe it's an addiction. Maybe it's a dream you've buried because you're afraid to fail. You probably don't need more information. You probably already know. The question is, will you trust yourself enough to take the next step? Not the whole staircase, just the next step. I truly believe every promise you keep to yourself is another piece of evidence. Evidence that you're becoming someone you can trust. And when you become someone you trust, your whole life begins to change. Not overnight, but steadily. One decision at a time. If you've made it this far, thank you. Seriously, thank you for spending this time with me. If this conversation resonated with you, I would be honored if you subscribed to the channel, shared this video with someone who needs it, or left a comment telling me what part spoke to you the most. Your support means more than you know. It allows me to keep creating, to keep having these conversations, to provide for my family, doing something I genuinely love, and hopefully to help someone else believe that change is possible. So remember this: your life changes the moment you stop lying to yourself and start trusting the truth. I'll see you in the next one.